talk, real talk. They don't say it, I do.
So you think he's going to still be the leader even though he's asking his wife for half of the money for the bills?
Obviously, he can't do it all right now.
Yeah. Okay, so they should have equal, both of them should be head of the household then. They should both be leaders of the household then, right?
Who's the head of the household, the man or the woman?
The head is as heavy as the person that wears the crown. Who is the most stressed in the relationship? Who's dealing with high levels of anxiety in a relationship? Who's the most depressed in most of these relationships? It's the woman. Why? Because she's handling everything from paying the bills, taking care of the children, making sure the man is mentally okay, even though she's falling apart mentally, making sure the home is running how it's supposed to run, making sure the bills are paid. And she's doing this with the man and without a man. And we don't mention her raising these children, making sure they're going to school, making sure their grades is up, making sure they're learning and becoming more productive. The woman has always been the head of the household, and only weak men disagree with it, because when a man is the head of the household, he runs because of the responsibilities that come with it. It's not just providing. That doesn't make you the head of the household. The head of the household is the one that maintains the whole home, and the only one that has been doing that since the beginning of time is the woman. So yes, the woman is the head of the household, but the man should make sure she has a home to be the head.
A lot of people will agree with clip one that the head of the household is about finances. That alone doesn't make you the leader. Never did. And then you've got those that will agree with the second clip. Some might say that he's speaking his truth, and some will say the pandering is strong with this one. Speaking in extremes, grouping everybody together, downing one side to uplift the other. Some of that might be true, sometimes, but that's not the full picture. The full picture? It's a lot more honest than that.
When the Bible says that the husband is the head of the home, it does not say he is the dictator. It says that he is the head. That does not mean, therefore, that he's a top sergeant using the Bible as a club rather than a sword to beat his wife over the head with it. He is the one who is responsible. Who is the head of the church? Jesus Christ. True? And the husband is to be the head of the wife as Christ is the head of the church. Well, I want you to think about Jesus, who is the head of the church. That is, he is the sovereign Lord of the church. He is your Lord. I want to ask you a question. Has Jesus Christ ever forced you to do anything? Not one time. Not one time. Not one time. And yet Jesus is the head of the church, and he is the Lord of my life, and if I know my heart, I would die for Jesus Christ. And yet he is not the dictator of the church. He is the head of the church, and this is what a husband needs to be.
Let's be real about this topic. What does it actually mean to be the head of the household? Because everybody throws that phrase around. Some think it means control. Some think it means authority. Some think it just means paying the bills. None of those are it. And the fact that most people still believe that is exactly why so many households struggle. Not because people don't care, but because they don't understand what leadership actually is. Let's talk about it. Most people hear head of the household and immediately think, I'm in charge. What I say goes. That's not leadership. That's control. And control only works when someone has less power than you. That's not a relationship. That's a setup. And setups, they collapse. Now here's the part people don't think about. Nobody just woke up like this. They learned it from a father who ruled with silence or one who wasn't there at all. So they either copy it or overcorrect, and neither one is leadership. You can't give what you were never shown, but at some point, what you weren't taught becomes your responsibility to learn. Now let's talk about the part people love to quote, the Bible. They'll say, the husband is the head, and stop right there. That's the problem. Because the very next part says, love her and sacrifice. Not lead and demand, not provide and control, sacrifice. And before that, submit to one another. That's mutual, not one-sided. And then manage your household well, not control it, manage it. The full picture looks nothing like what people are preaching. Let me bring this into real life. Something goes wrong. Bills off, stress high, communication gone. And instead of stepping in, it turns into, you should have handled that. That's not my job. I already told you. Now the problem didn't get solved, it just got louder. And louder doesn't fix anything. It hides the lack of leadership. And I've had to catch myself in that too, because it's easy to talk when you're not the one carrying it. But leadership shows up when something actually needs to be handled. That's where you see the difference between a title and someone actually leading. A lot of people want the title, head of the household, but they don't want what comes with it. Pressure, accountability, consistency, especially when you don't feel like it. They want authority without weight, and that always falls apart. Being the head of the household is not about power. It's about ownership. You're responsible for the direction of what you lead, not just financially, mentally, emotionally, structurally, all of it. If something breaks, you don't point, you fix it. Not because nobody else can, but because you said you would. That's leadership. And when it's actually working, you feel it. Nobody's walking on eggshells. Nobody's performing. Nobody's waiting to see what mood you're in. The environment feels different, calm, stable, safe. That's what real leadership produces, not obedience, peace. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. If this relationship only works when you're paying the bills, when you're solving the problems, when you're being useful, you're not the head. You're the resource. And resources get replaced. Not because they weren't useful, but because they were never leading. If your value only exists in what you provide, you didn't build structure. You built dependency. And dependency is not leadership. So here's the real test. When you're not around, does everything fall apart? Or does what you built still stand? That answer tells you everything. Because leadership isn't about being obeyed, it's about being trusted, not feared, not needed out of desperation, trusted. And if everything falls apart without you, they didn't trust your leadership. They depended on your presence. Now, if nobody ever showed you this, if you grew up where leadership looked like fear or absence, or whoever yelled the loudest, that's not your fault. But it is your responsibility, because explanations can be worked with. Excuses can't. And if something in this is hitting you, that's not shame. That's awareness. And awareness is where it starts. A real leader listens before deciding, thinks before reacting, leads with clarity, not ego, takes responsibility without needing someone to blame, builds something stable, not something dependent, because the goal was never to be in charge. The goal was to build something that lasts. So be honest with yourself. Are you actually leading, or are you just holding a title that nobody fully trusts? Jump in the comments and let's continue this conversation. Most people won't say it like this. I will. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.